2 a.m. at the Treasury Solicitor's office, while the lights at Buckingham Palace have dimmed, a windowless room in Whitehall is buzzing with activity. A group of legal experts and heritage crime specialists are reviewing a folder marked Succession Contingency 2026. The issue isn't William's crown. That is a mathematical certainty. The issue is a name crossed out in red ink, Camilla. According to high-level intelligence memos leaked to the Privy Council, a secret document has been circulated with the title Invalidation of Dowager Status. This isn't a personal vendetta. It is a constitutional surgery designed to remove a potential contagion from the heart of the new empire. In the investigative of noble secrets, the title of Queen Dowager is more than just a label. It carries access to state trusts, sovereign housing rights, and significant behind-the-scenes political influence. However, investigators have uncovered a fracture in the 2005 marriage records. At that time, public tension was eased with the promise that she would only ever be princess consort. While she ascended to queen in 2022 as a concession from the late Queen Elizabeth II, the 2026 landscape has changed. With the scandals of Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew closing in, Prince William has reportedly built a case. The integrity of the crown cannot permit a queen dowager with active ties to individuals under federal investigation. Behavioral analysts from the Royal Rogue have dissected Camilla's recent private meetings at Sandringham. An untraceable flow of funds from the Queen's private purse is allegedly being redirected to cover legal expenses for old friends. Inside the palace, William has established a digital fence around the Queen's office. Every piece of her diplomatic correspondence is now filtered by staff loyal to the Prince and Princess of Wales. The message from the Wales Empire is ice cold. A Queen Dowager must be a symbol of purity and stability. If Camilla cannot prove total separation from the dark corners of the family's past, she will be denied entry into the history books as a dowager of the realm. For William and Kate's new order, Camilla's potential transition to Queen Dowager is a calculation error that cannot be allowed. They see in her a bridge back to the era of scandal and institutional chaos. If the king passes, a royal decree will be enacted immediately. Camilla will not be exiled, but she will be placed into enforced retirement at a remote estate. Her access to national affairs will be terminated, and her title will be held in a state of constitutional limbo until it fades from public memory. The title of Queen Dowager will remain vacant, serving as a silent warning to anyone who places personal loyalty above the crown. The final word from Royal Signal, William's iron glove has descended. In the power game of 2026, compassion is a luxury the successor cannot afford. The Dowager's chair is empty, and by all accounts, it is intended to stay that way. This is the ultimate maneuver in what insiders are calling the Wales lockdown. Under the supreme authority granted by the king, Prince William is reportedly moving from constitutional strategy to legal enforcement. Here is the investigative breakdown of the 50-year non-disclosure agreement, the price of Queen Camilla's future security. In the early hours following the Sandringham summit, a specialized legal team from Ferrer and Sussex, the long-standing royal solicitors, reportedly finalized a document of unprecedented severity. This is the 50-year silence protocol. The terms are simple but devastating. In exchange for continued state-funded security, PPO protection, and the right to reside in a designated royal estate after the king's reign, Camilla must sign away her right to the narrative of the last 30 years. According to forensic leaks, the NDA contains 3 nuclear clauses designed to protect the future reign of King William V. The spare embargo. Camilla is permanently forbidden from discussing any private communications involving Prince Harry or Meghan Markle. William's goal is to ensure that no peace talks or alternative versions of the 2020-2024 drama ever surface from the Queen's perspective. A total ban on disclosing the specifics of King Charles III's medical journey or his final strategic decisions. This ensures that the transition of power to William remains viewed as a seamless constitutional act rather than a forced takeover. Camilla must immediately cease all unofficial intelligence sharing with Sarah Ferguson. Any breach results in the immediate withdrawal of her security detail, effectively leaving her vulnerable in a post-monarchy life. William is reportedly using the security leverage as his primary weapon. In 2026, the threat of being depersoned from the royal security umbrella is a death sentence for a public figure. A guaranteed lifetime stipend, access to the royal archives for vetted projects, and a quiet life at Ray Mill with full security. If the NDA is refused, Camilla faces the Sussex treatment, the loss of titles, the removal of her security team, and a public decoupling from the royal family's official history. For the Wales Empire, this 50-year NDA is the final brick in the wall. By forcing Camilla to sign, William isn't just protecting the king, he is sanitizing the future. He understands that the most dangerous thing to a new king is an old queen who knows where the bodies are buried. By the time this NDA expires in 2076, everyone involved in the current scandals will be long gone, and the Wales narrative will be the only history that remains. Camilla is currently described as being in a gilded cage. She is the Queen of the United Kingdom, yet she is being treated as a high-value witness in a trial for the monarchy's survival. The document is on the desk. The pen is in her hand. But in William's 2026, silence isn't just golden, it's the only way to stay safe. Since 1996, the year of the king's divorce from Princess Diana, rumors have circulated among high-level courtiers about Queen Camilla's black notebooks. These are not mere diaries. They are a 30-year forensic record of the struggle to rehabilitate her image. According to the Noble Secrets investigation, these journals contain the War Room Notes, detailed strategies on how the king's team managed the press fallout after 1997, private assessments of the Wales boys during their formative and most resentful years, transcripts of private conversations that were never meant to reach the ears of the Constitutional Committee. In March 2026, acting under the supreme authority granted to him, Prince William reportedly authorized a tactical legal team to enter the Queen's private study at Clarence House. The move was not framed as a search, but as an administrative consolidation of state papers. The forensic team, led by archival specialists from the Duchy of Cornwall, utilized a specific royal protocol. Any document written by a consort that touches upon state stability or succession strategy automatically falls under the jurisdiction of the sovereign's archives. By declaring the journals state papers rather than personal effects, William's team bypassed the Queen's personal lawyers. The most critical volumes, the diaries covering the years 2018 to 2024, were reportedly stored at Camilla's private residence, Ray Mill House. Under the cover of a routine security sweep, while the Queen was at Sandringham, a specialist unit recovered 3 locked leather-bound cases. William's team argued that these journals contained sensitive information regarding the king's medical status and the Sussex negotiations, making them a matter of institutional security. These volumes have now been transported to the Round Tower at Windsor Castle, the most secure archive in the world, where they have been placed under a century seal. This means they will not see the light of day until 2126. By seizing these diaries, William has achieved a narrative monopoly. Without her journals, Camilla has no proof of her side of the story. She cannot write a memoir to counter the Wales doctrine, and she cannot leak information to the press because the originals are now under the king's lock and key. The Queen Consort has been stripped of her weapon of last resort. In the history books written under King William V, Camilla will be portrayed exactly as the palace chooses. The nuance, the struggle, and the dirty secrets of the last 30 years have been buried in the lead-lined vaults of the Round Tower. The diaries were the last piece of leverage the old guard held against the new empire. With their seizure, the Wales lockdown is complete. Queen Camilla is now a queen without a voice, a consort without a history, and a witness without a testimony. In mid-March 2026, a specialized unit from GCHQ, the UK's intelligence and security organization, acting on a direct executive order from the Prince of Wales, reportedly initiated Operation Clean Slate. The target? Not a foreign power, but the private, encrypted communication channels used by the Queen Consort and her inner circle, informally known as the Camilla Cabin. Intelligence analysts realized that while official palace emails are archived, the real power broking happened on third-party encrypted apps like Signal and WhatsApp, away from the prying eyes of the Constitutional Committee. Under the guise of a royal cybersecurity update, necessitated by the king's health crisis, William's digital forensic team, led by former elite intelligence officers, seized every device associated with the Queen's private staff. Using advanced administrative backdoors, the team reportedly executed a remote wipe of a private server located at an undisclosed estate in the West Country. This server was believed to hold 15 years of back-channel emails between Camilla and key figures in the British media. All metadata, chat logs, and voice memos were not just deleted, they were zeroed out. This is a forensic process where data is overwritten multiple times with random characters, making recovery impossible even for the world's most advanced laboratories. The most sensitive data targeted in the purge were the encrypted exchanges between Camilla and Sarah Ferguson, Fergie. William's team identified that Fergie acted as a narrative conduit, leaking curated information to friendly tabloids to bolster Camilla's image whenever the Wales brand gained too much momentum. By deactivating the encryption keys and seizing the cloud backups associated with Camilla's private accounts, the Wales empire has effectively cut the communication line between the two women. Any future leak can now be traced back to a specific, singular source, making the cost of defiance too high for any remaining ally to pay. The sanitization of the digital crown. By the end of March 2026, Queen Camilla's digital footprint has been professionally sanitized. The history that remains on the palace servers is a sterilized version of events, official duties, approved statements, and polished public relations. The old guard has been blinded and muted. There are no more unofficial channels, no more friendly leaks, and no more digital paper trails that could haunt King William V's future reign. In the digital age, if the data doesn't exist, the event never happened. William hasn't just won the war for the throne, he has won the war for the truth. The Queen Consort now sits in a palace where even the Wi-Fi is a cage. Every message she sends, every person she contacts is monitored by the very institution she spent 30 years trying to lead. The digital purge is complete. The ghost of the 90s has been deleted. The throne is now a clean digital slate, ready for the era of William and Kate. The digital purge of Queen Camilla was not just an internal cleanup. It was a global demonstration of the crown's new, absolute executive reach. As the final traces of Camilla's back-channel archives vanished into the lead-lined servers of the Round Tower, a cold chill swept across the Atlantic, penetrating the glass walls of the Sussex mansion in Montecito. In the high-stakes, investigative Eames, here is the analysis of the digital panic gripping the Sussex empire as they realize William's iron glove can reach them even 5,000 miles away. The liquidation of Camilla's digital footprint was a proof of concept by the Prince of Wales. It sent a clear message to Harry and Meghan. No cloud is too high, and no server is too remote for the crown. According to technical intelligence sources, the atmosphere in Montecito shifted from calculated defiance to raw, technological panic the moment the news of Operation Clean Slate broke. The Sussexes realized that the same elite GCHQ-trained team William is currently employing are the very architects who designed the security protocols Harry used during his decade as a working royal. The greatest fear currently haunting Meghan Markle is not a tabloid headline, but data neutralization. The insurance archive. For years, the Sussexes have reportedly curated a massive digital insurance policy. Thousands of emails, text messages, and secret recordings intended to serve as leverage for future Netflix deals or memoirs. They now fear that William's team is utilizing legacy keys, state-level security backdoors that Harry was granted during his time in the inner circle, to gain remote access to their private iCloud and third-party servers. The goal isn't to steal the data, but to corrupt and delete it, rendering their secret archives useless before they can ever be published. When information becomes a liability. According to the investigative frameworks of Royal Signal, Meghan is reportedly in a frenzied race to hire Silicon Valley's top cybersecurity firms to scrub and shield their systems. However, a grim reality remains. If that data was generated or communicated using royal household devices or encrypted channels during their transition in 2020, the Crown technically maintains administrative ownership of the encryption protocols. William doesn't need to cross the ocean to confront his brother. He simply needs to authorize a digital execution from his office in London, and the Sussexes' explosive truths could be reduced to corrupted, unreadable code in a single keystroke. The Sussexes are now experiencing a state of digital paralysis. They are afraid to send sensitive emails, afraid to store data in the cloud, and have reportedly begun reverting to analog communication methods, paper and couriers, to bypass William's reach. The Wales Empire has successfully weaponized the internet, the very tool the Sussexes use to build their brand, against them. Every time Meghan picks up her iPhone, the question is no longer, what should I post? But, is William watching me type? The new reality. Power in 2026 is not measured by who has the loudest voice, but by who controls the delete button. In Montecito, the glass walls that were meant to symbolize transparency and freedom now feel like a transparent cage. The ghost of Operation Clean Slate is lingering outside their door, and the Sussexes understand that in King William Fee's future world, a secret is only a weapon as long as the crown allows it to exist. In late March 2026, as the digital reach of the Prince of Wales's cybersecurity teams became undeniable, the Sussex camp reportedly initiated Project Shelter. Recognizing that iCloud, Google Drive, and major US-based servers are legally and technically vulnerable to UK-US mutual legal assistance treaties, Meghan Markle has reportedly moved to de-digitize, to move their most sensitive royal insurance data, recordings, unreleased memoir drafts, and private correspondence off the grid entirely. According to forensic intelligence leaks, the Noble Secrets method, the Sussexes are not just buying encrypted hard drives. They are reportedly leasing dedicated server space in a non-extradition jurisdiction, specifically targeting countries with no data-sharing agreements with the United Kingdom. Analysts suggest Panama, Switzerland, or the Seychelles. These locations offer data sovereignty, meaning even a direct request from the British Crown or GCHQ would be met with a legal wall. We are talking about air-gapped servers, computers that are never connected to the internet. To access this data, one would have to physically enter the facility and bypass biometric security. The most chilling aspect of Project Shelter is the rumored implementation of a dead man's switch. The mechanism. If the Sussexes are silenced through further legal injunctions, or if Harry's titles are fully expunged by an act of Parliament, a pre-programmed command would trigger. The server would automatically transmit the most damaging archives to a network of pre-selected, non-UK aligned journalists and streaming platforms across Asia and the Middle East. This turns their information from a weapon into a deterrent. It is a digital nuclear option. If you erase us, the truth explodes. Prince William has built a digital iron curtain, but Meghan is building an offshore fortress. As the Prince of Wales moves to consolidate his legacy, he finds himself in a technological stalemate. He can delete the Sussexes from the British servers, but he cannot reach into a lead-lined vault in a foreign land. The question for April 2026 is no longer about who is more popular, but about who blinks first in this transcontinental game of information chicken. If William pushes too hard, does Meghan pull the trigger on Project Shelter? By late spring 2026, the pretense of a shared leadership has ended. In a historic ceremony broadcast from the throne room of Buckingham Palace, King Charles III, frail but resolute, signs the Act of Regency. While Charles remains the sovereign in name, William is granted the title of Prince Regent with supreme executive authority. This is the moment the Wales Empire officially becomes the British state. William does not take the throne with a smile. He takes it with a cold, clinical focus. His first act as regent is not a speech of reconciliation, but a signing of the final settlement decree. With the stroke of a pen, the status of the outcasts is moved from suspended to permanently expunged. Harry is no longer a prince of the realm in any legal document within the UK. His place in the line of succession is not just dormant, it is legally vacated for the sake of institutional continuity. Following the king's retreat into permanent rest, the 50-year NDA is triggered. Queen Camilla is moved to a private wing at Sandringham. She becomes a gilded ghost, a woman whose history has been secured, whose diaries are locked in the Round Tower, and whose influence has been reduced to zero. William has achieved what no monarch since Victoria has dared. He has decoupled the family from the firm. The investment ceremony of William as Prince Regent is unlike any in history. There is no excess, no gilded carriages, and no room for scandals. Dressed in a streamlined military uniform rather than coronation robes, William signals a monarchy of action. The partnership. Catherine stands beside him, not as a decorative consort, but as the co-strategist of the realm. The public sees a power couple that functions like a global executive board. While the Commonwealth fractures and Montecito trembles behind its data fortress, the British public feels a strange sense of relief. The soap opera is over. The warrior king has arrived to provide the one thing the world missed: certainty. The 2026 transition will be remembered as the surgical succession. William V did not inherit a peaceful kingdom. He carved one out of the chaos left by his predecessors. As the sun sets over Windsor in June 2026, the Iron Curtain is fully lowered. The Sussexes are a memory, Camilla is a secret, and the king is a silent symbol. The world looks at the balcony of Buckingham Palace and sees only two figures, William and Catherine. They are the architects of the most significant transformation in 1,000 years. They didn't just save the monarchy, they reinvented it into a machine that can survive without the need for love, only the necessity of respect.